Hello, my name is Megan Sigsworth, and this is my presentation for my Advanced Sales and Negotiation assignment for Bruce's class. So for the evaluation negotiation assignment, I chose ITIQ, which is a tech recruitment company in Vancouver. Essentially what ITIQ does is they sell recruiting services to their clients. The person that I interviewed was named Felicia, and she's an account manager for ITIQ, so that means that she manages their accounts like UBC and BC Hydro and the companies that they are trying to find placements for. So the negotiation that took place was between Felicia and someone that they had found who they were trying to place at UBC, and obviously for confidentiality reasons, I didn't get her name, so we're just going to call her Jane Doe. So it was between Felicia and Jane, and the issue at hand was that Jane had agreed on the salary that UBC was willing to offer her. She was happy with it. And then after the interview, Jane nailed the interview, knew that UBC loved her, and now she suddenly wanted an extra $5,000 added onto the salary. Felicia was uncomfortable asking her client for this because this was not what they had agreed on, and she also didn't feel that Jane deserved this extra $5,000. So the preparation for the negotiation was essentially Felicia wrapping her head around that and trying to find a way to communicate to Jane that she still wanted to place her in this job, but she essentially wasn't worth the extra $5,000. And that's a tough thing to communicate to another human being. The tactics that Felicia ended up using in this negotiation was simply brinksmanship, because it was a take it or leave it situation. Felicia did not want to ask UBC for the extra $5,000. She refused to. So for brinksmanship to work, you do have to be genuine about it, and Felicia was. She truly wasn't going to ask for the extra money. That said, she did still want to place Jane at this job, and Jane wanted the extra $5,000. So it did bring them to an impasse. And to get past this impasse, Felicia did use some tactics. She stopped and recapped for Jane. She really helped her step back. She used a diagram difference to try and see the pros and cons of the situation. She wanted Jane to be able to see what she was losing if she walked away from this deal. This job at UBC was still a salary increase, great benefits, great hours. It was a teaching job. It was everything Jane was really excited about. So Felicia wanted to just kind of step back and remind Jane of that. And she, just essentially gave her all the information. She laid out the facts and said, this is the way it is. And the biggest challenge that Felicia said she faced in this negotiation was kind of like I mentioned earlier, just wrapping her head around the situation and trying to find a way to tell Jane, unfortunately, you're not worth this extra $5,000. We do want to place you here. UBC does want you, but I'm not willing to go to my client and ask for an extra $5,000 because you're not worth it. Your credentials aren't worth it. You don't have the experience for it. You're worth what we offered. So that was a challenging thing for her. And then Felicia also mentioned she had a hard time wrapping her head around the fact that Jane was manipulating the situation into asking for an extra $5,000. Felicia was now worried that Jane was going to take the job at UBC and then jump at the next chance for more money. So that was an issue. The outcome of the situation, Felicia did go tell UBC, hey, she wants this extra $5,000, but I'm not willing to ask you for it because I don't think it's fair. UBC agreed, said they didn't think it was fair, but at the end of the day, Felicia was able to keep goodwill with her client, which is a very important thing. It was a lose-lose situation, and because the placement didn't end up happening, so Jane didn't go to UBC, but my suggestions for Felicia would be A, more fact-finding with Jane, try to get to the why, try to uncover why she wanted that extra $5,000, and B, she could have used some bridge tactics. She could have used some if-then statements. If UBC is willing to do this, then would you consider taking the job without the extra $5,000? I feel like she could have done some negotiating that way. But at the end of the day, Felicia was able to stay in goodwill with her client, UBC, which is the big thing, as well as the prospect, Jane, who they were trying to place. So no relationships were ruined. Jane still is in the pipeline. They are still trying to place her somewhere. And at the end of the day, UBC remained happy, Felicia remained happy, and no relationships were harmed. So it was a lose-lose negotiation, but it wasn't a terrible situation.